The trial, conviction and sentencing of former Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai has been a major point of contention between China and the West. Lai is the most high-profile figure to date to be prosecuted for national security offences in Hong Kong. Top officials from the city, as well as in the central government, say Lai's punishment of 20 years in prison fits his crimes.
Lai has committed numerous heinous crimes, and his evil deeds were beyond measure. His conviction is supported by overwhelming evidence, and he deserves the punishment after all the harm that he has done.
Prosecutors said Lai, a British national, had used his now defunct tabloid newspaper Apple Daily and international connections to push for foreign intervention and sanctions against the local and central governments.
Lai Chee-ying, according to the law of Hong Kong and law of China, he is a Chinese, and we do not recognize dual nationality. Being a Chinese who commit an offense in Hong Kong, China, he serves sentence in Hong Kong, China is a very logical steps. The Lai Chee-ying case also has nothing to do with press freedom. If anything, the defendant have used journalism as a guise to harm our country and Hong Kong over the years.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Lai's case shows the world that Beijing will go to extraordinary lengths to silence those who advocate fundamental freedoms in Hong Kong. UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper described Lai's jail term as tantamount to a life sentence. Similar statements were made by officials from the European Union, Australia and Canada. All have called for the 78-year-old to be released on humanitarian grounds. After 156 days of open hearings, 52 days of which were dedicated to Lai's defense, he was found guilty of 2 counts of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and 1 count of conspiracy to print seditious articles. Critics said many of the actions presented during the trial predated the implementation of the national security law that Beijing imposed on Hong Kong in June 2020, and that the panel of 3 judges chosen by Hong Kong leader John Lee had blurred the principle of non-retroactivity. But legal experts in Hong Kong say these critics need to take a closer look.
As a lawyer, I would define a fair trial as a process by which the accused has opportunity to defend itself. The proceedings is open, and the court deals with the case by reference to reason and logic. Well, I think if you have read the judgment, you would understand that there is no suggestion of retroactivity at all. What the judges are saying is in accordance with common law principles that if you have a criminal intention and that intention persisted from before the enactment of national security law to after the enactment of national security law, that criminal intention continued to be relevant. The Western countries are saying this is not a fair trial because the crime itself is not a reasonable crime or something that other countries are familiar with. The charge against him is collusion with a foreign power. But the element of the crime involves somebody requesting or asking a foreign power to impose sanction on China and on Hong Kong. Now, if you look at that definition, you will immediately see that the nature of the offense involves a betrayal of one's own country. It is tantamount to treason. I would think that most countries in the world would regard that a national betraying his own country in order to cause damage or harm to his own country is an improper conduct, suitable to be criminalized.
One has to look at a wide range of considerations, including particularly whether the person's presumption of innocence has been respected and upheld, the person didn't have to prove his innocence, whether he had competent and effective legal representation, whether the tribunal was independent and impartial, whether he was able to make full answer in defense to the charge, and importantly, whether he will have full rights of appeal to challenge the verdict. The legal team made many challenges, including challenging the impartiality of the tribunal, whether it was bias and whether there was political interference. The court, of course, rejected those complaints, but now those decisions can be taken on appeal. Also, another observation is that the judgment is quite an extensive one, as we all know, very detailed. So one can say that the judgment has meaningfully dealt with the issues and can be a proper basis for an appeal. And again, the right of appeal is being fully applies in this case, and an appeal court can look at all the judgments and also the previous rulings to see if there's been any legal errors that would need to be overturned.
Some Western governments have threatened to punish Hong Kong by imposing sanctions, but officials from the city and Beijing are standing their ground. Beijing's Office of Safeguarding National Security in Hong Kong criticized Western politicians and governments calling for Lai's unconditional release.